Nigeria's major public-private policy advocacy group, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, today hosted a business breakfast roundtable on the Nigerian renewable energy sector. This is 48 hours after the federal government had its inaugural Nigerian Renewable Energy Roundtable with the private sector in Abuja. Giving the opening remarks at the event, the CEO of the NESG, Mr. Layo Jayola, shared the objectives of the roundtable.
What really do we want to achieve with this roundtable? First and foremost, we want focus, we want attention. And our expectation at this roundtable is that we will be able to at least do 6 key things. 6 key things. Number 1, we'll be able to establish a renewable energy business dialogue platform with renewable energy companies and rural electrification agencies to fine-tune action plan, assign advocacy tasks, and monitor progress against goal. So what do we want to do? Have a dialogue platform going on. Secondly, we want to design and adopt innovative financial instruments to attract high-quality solar companies to invest in off-grids, and not only solar, even biomass or wind, to invest in hybrids projects. And we hope that in doing this, we can have at least 5 solar companies for commencement of installation of at least 500 SME solutions very early in the new year. Thirdly, our expectation is that this roundtable will encourage innovation, research and development for made in Nigeria renewable energy products and applications. And that we will scale up donor support for large-scale training programs for renewable energy technicians based on an already established plan developed by the Nigerian Energy Support Program with a goal to fill all vocational training places on the 11 existing facilities in Nigeria soon. Number 5, we hope that this forum and with this roundtable, we will be able to agree with the Federal Minister of Finance, the tax breaks and custom facilitation, given the role that renewable energy plays in reviving local economies, and thus increasing tax revenue for the real economy. What we want to prove to them is that you allow tax and rebates and custom rebates on these renewable products is not a loss thing. It's far you're going to gain, because when we then begin to create the jobs, and then you see how you have traction. And we were able to demonstrate a case. That was a case demonstration in Abuja of a Lagos barber who had only one shop, who employed only 3 people, plus himself and 2 other people, making 3. And they spent all their money buying fossil fuel and all of those things. But today, by the use of solar products, we now have 3 shops employing 12 people, and that, of course, takes the youth off the street. So these are the kind of intervention we hope we'll be able to achieve as we continue this dialogue.
In his presentation, keynote speaker Dr Frank Matthes of the Oeko Institute gave insight into developing trends globally on renewable energy.
What we see that there are 2 major trends. In 2005 we had an annual capacity addition for coal and gas between 60 and 80 gigawatts a year. That came down until 2016. The last numbers we have up until from 2016 are more at the level of 30 to 40 gigawatts. So there's a very clear downward trend, and we have a very clear upward trend by renewables. I think last year the global capacity additions for PV have been 75 gigawatts, and the global capacity additions for wind have been a bit less than 60 gigawatts. And if you have a look to the trends, then you can see here there is a massive growth globally. And the key question is, if we in a few years will reach the 100 gigawatt capacity additions for PV in solar energy, what will be the Nigerian share? And to answer this question, there was this studies NESG and Heinrich Boll Foundation have worked on to get an imagination what the levelized cost of energy, which is nothing else than the the total of all costs over the lifetime divided by the total production over the lifetime, what that means. And that has shown two things, that number one, the general trend, especially the dynamics, are also applying to Nigeria, but however, that the interest rate or the weighted average cost of capital makes a difference. And I will come back to this later. But I think this trend shows, and if you have a look on this map 5 years ago, the numbers have been totally different. And so there is a downward trend, and there is something the global market will deliver, so the cost of the technology will come down. There is another issue, and I would like to highlight this because this is not the end of the story. You can see here again a very scientific graph. That is what we call the learning curve. It's the double logarithmic presentation of cost and installations. And there is a rule of thumb that by doubling the installed capacity, the specific costs are decreasing on a certain rate. And what we can see here, we all know this from PV, that we are on a long journey when each doubling the global capacity of PV, the specific costs came down between 15 and 20%. So this is this learning curve for PV.
Mr. Kyari Buka, chairman of the NESG, speaks on the event and the renewed drive for effecting an agenda for renewable energy in Nigeria.
The Vision 30-30-30, which is actually the energy mix vision of this country, states that by the year 2030, Nigerians should have 30% of the 30 gigawatts of power that we would be generating must come from renewable energy. Renewable energies, in a very simple definition, are energy that is produced using natural sources such as solar, wind, hydro, and biomass. And the beauty of the renewable energy systems is that they tend to be micro or mini grids. That means you don't have to spend inordinate amount of time, very long gestation period to produce 1,000 megawatts, for example. You can have them in small chunks, 10, 20 megawatt plants that could come to market within 2-3 months. And if we can do this distributed, even if it is addressing some catchment areas where the demand can be met with those sorts of power, then Nigeria's energy gap could be quite quickly closed, and we will be on the trajectory of the inclusive economic development or economic growth that we all aspire for. Two, because they are mini and they create opportunities for jobs. For example, 100 megawatt systems in, say, solar would generate approximately 200 to 300 jobs, whereas 1,000 megawatts built using gas or whatever would probably create 200 or 300 permanent jobs, and maybe construction jobs of 1,000 or so, but those are temporary or transient in nature. In the case of renewable energy systems, the trained technicians would have a lifetime job of maintaining, replacing, fixing, troubleshooting, and so on and so forth. So it will have a more impact on lives of people and on our economy.
Dr. Felix Matthes speaks on the critical issues that will shape renewable energy in the country.
I think there is a need to create revolving funds which makes capital available for more decentralized investors. For the big investments, the World Bank does this for the big projects. But what is the answer of this financing to making financing cheaper for the decentralized operators? And we need revolving funds or other financial mechanisms. But we also need a lot of education because we need skilled labor force. It's the labor force that's much more distributed across the country, so there needs to be accreditation, quality control, education, etc., etc. And that needs to be organized, that all is doable, and that all costs not that much money, but it must be taken into the political focus. If you compare the cost over the lifetime with the production over the lifetime, it's much cheaper than many, many other options. The key challenge is that the upfront costs are higher than for other technologies. And in a country where the interest rates are extremely high, this poses a problem. But there are financial mechanisms which could overcome this trap, because if you don't if you don't go for investments that are cheaper over the lifetime because you have not the money to invest, then you are too poor to save money. And that it is all about. And there are financial mechanisms which the government can set up to decrease the interest rate for future-proof investments, and then to pay back this as a regular loan, but to make capital available at lower interest rates that you get enough power to save money.
The 30-30-30 electricity agenda of Nigeria is targeting a 30% renewable energy contribution of 30 gigawatts to the country. This, though a laudable effort, can be achieved if the public and private sector players show commitment to the policy framework that can attract the required investment and financing model to boost Nigeria's energy sector.